Hey guys, it's Devin from Channel 1 iTV in Cottleville, Missouri at the VP Chocolate Bar with the one and only Kid Kazoo, Brett Ambler. How are you today?
I'm great. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to interview you today is, in the brief, the short story is that you were a child actor on a Melissa and Doug's video cassette series called Special Friends.
Yep.
And then, it was found 27 years later, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And posted on the internet.
Yep.
And then, it just got a huge response. And then you got rediscovered when, about 2016?
Yep. That sounds about right.
All right. So before I get into the, details of all of that, I want to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
To where it all began with you on Kazoo, the Melissa and Doug video cassette
right.
series, the first video that was produced in that series. So, I guess the question is that I really wanted to know is, how did you go about getting that part?
Yeah. Well, Melissa and Doug produced and created the video. Doug was the son of my elementary school principal, Bob Bernstein. So Doug Bernstein, his son, sent the word out to my elementary school and a whole bunch of other neighboring elementary schools in other local towns, and said they were looking for kids to audition for like a sing-along, play-along video. So I heard about the audition. I went into the audition. I met Melissa and Doug, and we sang some songs and played some games and pretended to be different animals and some general kid stuff. And I guess they liked how I goofed around better than how other kids did. Yeah. So yeah, I got signed on to do the video with 6 other kids, I think. The other kids that I play with in the video. And then one by one, every one of the other kids who were cast all got recast.
Really?
Yeah, so that cast that you see in the video was not the original cast that was picked. It was me and 6 other kids, and then they replaced all 6 other kids throughout the rehearsal process for different performers. But that's the group we ended up with.
So what's the story behind that? Why did they decide to recast?
We were rehearsing, learning songs, playing games, and I guess one by one they just changed their minds about who they thought they were working with. Some kids that they hired, I think, maybe were just a little too young for the task and couldn't quite focus and do a job for that long. Other kids were just not getting along with others, and some just weren't cut out for keeping their happy face on for the camera. So one by one they got picked out and replaced, and we got the cast that we ended up with.
So that is amazing. How long did the video production take from beginning to end?
Gosh, I was about 8 when we put it together, so it's really tough to say. I don't really remember. I know that, let's see, we cast it, we rehearsed for, must have rehearsed for at least a week or 2, and they probably recast. We did studio work in a sound studio where we recorded all the songs and vocals, and then we shot on location, mostly at New Pond Farm in Connecticut. From the time that I got involved to finishing shooting was probably some number of months, 3 months or something. I think we shot it mostly just during the summer, so probably took us the summer to cast, rehearse, record the vocals, and then record the video, and then they had to go into post-production and do all the editing and whatnot after that. But I think we did it over the course of a summer.
Okay.
Give or take.
Pretty cool. So Now I know there were some sound issues. I read about the sound issues where they had to kind of dub over some of the children. What was that?
So we were filming on location at New Pond Farm, and it's it's a farm. It's an outdoor location. So sometimes there was a lot of wind. Sometimes there was you could hear a truck driving by. We were close to the road. So we just didn't get quite as much quality sound on location as we hoped we did. So after filming, we went back to the sound studio, and any voice, mine or any of the other boys, that couldn't be heard due to wind or traffic or something, I dubbed over, and any girl's voice was dubbed over by Melissa.
Okay.
So there's a lot of really bad dubbing
yeah.
in the video.
Yeah, because they don't have they didn't have the technology back in the late '80s like they do now.
Yeah, I think part of it really comes to the fact that we didn't have the original cast come in and dub their own voices, because it was a very low budget production to put together. I think it came out awesome for what they were going for, but instead of bringing the original cast back in, we just Melissa and I dubbed all the voices over, so it sounds very out of place when you hear a 30-something-year-old woman speaking to an 8-year-old girl.
Yeah. So, what was it like to be on the set? I mean, I've seen pieces of your video, you on Kazoo, the first one. You're very energetic, very animated. I mean, was this the direction that they wanted you to go into, or was this just naturally you back when you were a child?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think I was naturally, wanting to get laughs and entertain people from a young age. But they encouraged me to be as inviting as impossible to the viewer at home. Hi, buddy. I just got really used to playing right into the camera and keeping that big smile on my face, and I still think that's right in my wheelhouse of performance, is doing the happy, smiley, entertaining types.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the big draws in that led to the internet community to find the video and just to do whatever it was with it. Do a lot of re-edits, do a lot of mashups. Is because you're such an energetic, smiling kid, and you're so animated and did all these crazy things.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's a great video.
I'm still proud of it. I stand by it. I think it's great.
Yeah. So, so when the production was over, I mean, what was that like? Did you get a lot of response from your peers? Did you get a lot of response from the adults who possibly bought the video back in the 80s, early 90s?
I got I got mostly good response from my peers. I think I was a little embarrassed about it, because when you're 8 years old, if you do anything that stands out, then it's a little like, oh, I'm standing out like alone. That's not good. I should recede into the shadows and be safe. But most of the response from my peers was all really great, and I think that was in elementary school. And then as I moved into middle school, it sort of faded, and then in high school we joined with another town full of students. I was in Reading, and the next town was Easton, and we all went to the same high school, and I didn't really mention it in high school. We just sort of keep it on the DL, because as a high school student that can be really good fodder for very embarrassing stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't really talk about it in high school, and then I didn't talk about it in college, and I didn't talk about it after college. And I mentioned it to like 1 or 2 people the year before it was refound on the internet. But I sort of kept it mostly on the down low for most of my adult life until it sort of resurfaced, and I was like, well, I can't really hide from it now.
It's out there now.
Yeah, it's coming to get me.
Yeah. So okay, now that the production of the first video was over, I saw you in the second video, and the third video has yet to resurface. Did they did they invite you back, or did you want to be back in the second video?
They invited me back to do another one. Yeah, they saw that the first one did really well, and they were selling it at mom and pop small toy stores all around the tri-state area at the time, and they decided to do another one, so they invited me back. I said, yeah, let's do another one. That sounds great. What do I know? I'm 9 years old.
Yeah, because it seems like in the second video, and I've watched little snippets of it too, you're just as animated and just as cheerful, and I guess that's the direction they wanted to go with that as well, right?
Yeah, friendly, inviting, cheerful, happy-go-lucky kid who wants you to come and have a good happy-go-lucky time with them. Seems like good marketing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And near the end of the video, I didn't know if this was your idea or if this was Melissa and Doug's idea, but near the end of the second video, I see you getting off stage and kind of, doing what Jay Leno used to do back when he was on the Tonight Show. He used to go into the audience, shake hands, talk with them.
Oh yeah.
Like that. So what was?
That was direction. I'm pretty sure that was the direction of Doug and Melissa. That at the end of the video, I would come out and talk to the kids. Because the second video, for anybody who hasn't seen it, is more concert style. Where I'm sort of on stage a lot and the kids are in the audience and we're all singing songs together. But it's a lot of me up here and them down here. So I guess at the end of the video, yeah, they wanted me to come down and talk to the kids and shake their hands and show that we were all connected and I wasn't, a big glamorous thing or anything. Just a dude on stage with a fake plastic microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been a really cool experience, though.
Very. Yeah. It was. It's so unique, for a child to get to star in a series of 3 sing-along videos. It was terribly cool. I haven't seen the third one in years and years and years. I might have a copy of it somewhere. I don't even think I have a copy of the third one. It's out there. I hardly remember it at all. I remember the first one the best, the second one a little, and the third one barely at all.
And yeah, I noticed that there was a change, between the first and second one. I mean, you were grown up a little bit. You had your adult teeth coming in. What age was that?
The first one I was 8 for most of it. The second one I think I was 9, and the third one I was 11. Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, and so you don't really remember anything from the third video?
Very little. I don't remember much of making it. I don't remember much of the songs that were in it. Yeah, it wasn't nearly as popular as the first or the second. It did all right, but it certainly never caught on like the other ones did. So
do you keep up with the cast members of the first video, or are they just distant memories?
Mostly distant memories. I was in touch with Carolyn, the girl with the blonde hair who says, "Can we do more kazoo?"
Yeah.
I was in touch with her a little bit. I believe last time I talked to her, she's a kazoo teacher. They both start with a K. She's a kindergarten teacher. Carolyn, if you're out there, hi. I don't know if you're still teaching kindergarten, but if you are, good for you. Hilda was another young actor in the video, and she saw me on Twitter after the video sort of started exploding, and people found me on Twitter, and then she saw me on there. So I reconnected with her for the first time in 27 years, and she is also in education.
That's really cool.
Yep. And they're the only 2 that I've really been in touch with. Haven't been able to find Jonathan or John or Carl or Nicole. Did I get them all? I hope I got them all. Sorry if I missed one. But yeah, I've been minorly in touch with those 2, but haven't been able to even locate any of the others.
Well, with the internet being so well connected, I bet one of these days they'll find you just like the rest of the
I'm hoping. Somebody said they thought they found Carl on Twitter, but he won't respond to anybody. So I don't know if it's not him or if he's just ignoring us.
So, okay, now that you were done with the 3 videos, I mean, did this spark an acting bug in you, like a profession? And I guess where did it lead to after the 3 videos with Melissa and Doug were over? Yeah,
it definitely sparked the acting bug in me. I started taking acting and voice lessons in Connecticut with Diana Canova, and through her I met some people who were working on a project for Random House Publishing. That was a video project called Let's Draw. That it was the video was just drawing like a computer cursor, and it was like a teaching kids how to draw thing. And they had narrated it, but the guy who narrated it was from the UK and sounded very sort of stilted and not very engaging for the children.
Just really stiff.
Yeah, so they decided they would redo the whole narration with a child, and they found me, so I got to go work on Let's Draw, and I met Sharon Lerner, who produced that Let's Draw series with Random House, and she got me working on some other Random House projects.
Very cool.
So I got to narrate some of the Jessie Bear series of books about a young bear, and I got to narrate some Dr. Seuss projects as well. I think that I was the last performer to work on a Dr. Seuss project before he passed away, before Theodore Geisel died.
So, what was it like? I mean, this was, how many years was the gap between the third video and the narration project?
Not long. Maybe 2 years. I was started taking acting classes, and then I met. Oh shoot, I can't remember the guy's name who recorded the Let's Draw session. But yeah, I got involved with that probably 2 years later, and that got me hooked up with Random House, and then I was working on voiceovers in New York City with Random House, and got an agent in the city, went to a handful of auditions, auditioned for every single one of those Apple Jacks, We Eat What We Like commercials that ever came out. And I auditioned for Quiz Show, a movie that Robert Redford
Oh, really?
Directed, and I got cast in that, and I had 5 lines, and they got thrown away and not used in the movie, but I still got paid. And I got to meet Robert Redford. So
and that's the
cool.
important thing, meet Robert Redford and getting paid.
And getting paid, yeah. It's not bad at all. Yeah, so it sort of just, one thing led to another in the career until I went through puberty and stopped being so cute.
Yeah.
I was a cute young lad and then a funny looking older lad. So then after that I was just doing a ton of theater in high school and college, and then after that.
So what was it like going from live action, videos to being behind a microphone and narrating storybooks?
It wasn't a big change for me, I don't think. You still have to keep up the same energy. Actually, you have to bring it up even more sometimes when you're just voice acting, because that's the only medium you have. You can't show expression with your face or your hands or anything, so you have to put it all in your voice. But it was natural for me, I guess, to get the energy up and get the excitement up, and it felt like basically doing the same thing, just I didn't have to run around as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were in a sound booth at that time?
Yeah, recorded in a sound studio.
And did they hand you a script, or did they hand you the books to record from?
That's a good question. I think I was just recording right out of the books, but I couldn't say for sure. I don't quite remember. That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, going back to Melissa and Doug, I mean, do you still keep in contact with them? Or?
Every once in a while, every few years, I check in with them, give them a call, let them know what I'm doing in my career, and see how they're doing. I called the company a while ago, because Melissa and Doug formed a company called Lights Camera Interaction that made the 3 movies, and then they changed the company name from Lights Camera Interaction to Melissa and Doug, and they make toys now. They're in every store across the nation. They started off just in mom and pop single-owned toy stores, and now they're in every Target and Walmart and everything else too. But I got in touch with them. I called the office, or I emailed Melissa at the office a while back and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that You on Kazoo has blown up on Twitter and we're taking over the internet. And she wrote back and she said, that was actually the plan all along. We were initially going to mount a huge Twitter campaign. We just needed to wait after we made the video for somebody to make the internet and Twitter, but we knew it all along.
That was the grand scheme.
That was always, she was like, we're going to get on the internet and then we're going to get on Twitter. We just need somebody to create the internet. Thanks, Al Gore, and Twitter.
So, now that it's blown up, well, before I get to that, you said you didn't talk about it really in high school. In college, you kind of left it behind. Did you get any kind of, notifications or any kind of, publicity of any sort, with the videos during those years, or was it just gone with the...
Never heard about it, never talked about it. It was actually, it's so bizarre the way the timing worked out of how it came back. Because I never heard about it at all. Nobody talked about it, nobody said they'd seen it, nobody brought it up to me. And then I was in a sandwich shop in Colorado. I was in Snarf's sandwich shop in Colorado. And there was a cute little boy running around in there who was maybe like 4 or 5 years old. And I do a lot of children's theater, so I love talking to kids, love entertaining kids. So I got down and I said, "Hey buddy, what's your name?" And I forget what his name was. He said, "Gavin." And I said, "Oh, hey Gavin, I'm Brett." And he said, "I know someone named Brett." And then he ran off. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I looked at his mother and I said, "He knows somebody named Brett?" And she said, "Oh, he doesn't really know anybody named Brett. He watches this video that his uncle had," and his uncle's like 30 now, but his uncle used to have this video and now he watches it, and it's of this little kid named Brett who does a sing-along thing. And I was like a blonde-haired, bowl-cut kid in a blue shirt with a red kazoo singing Special Friends, that kind of video? And she was like, "Yeah, you've seen that video?" And I was like, "I've seen that video a lot." "I'm Brett." She was like, "What?" And I was like, "That's me, that's my video, I was in that." And she was like, "Well, he watches it." And I was like, "Well, then I met the only person in the world who's still watching an original copy of my video."
Wow.
Like, how many people in the nation, like how many 4-year-old kids have seen my video? I'm guessing it's that one, maybe one other. And I met him, and then I had kept the whole story on the DL for a while, but it was such an interesting moment that I met that kid that I posted that story that I just told up on Facebook. And then my friend from high school posted a meme on my wall, and I was like, "Oh, did you just make this because you read that story that I posted?" And he was like, "No, I didn't make it, I just found it. And what story are you even talking about?" He didn't even know that I had just met the only kid in America who was watching my videos.
That is amazing.
So he posted the meme on my wall, and that I met that kid the same day. And then like a week later, somebody found me on Twitter, and then so it all happened very randomly at once.
Yeah. So, I mean, the story behind all of that is really interesting. I mean, it's kept on the down low. Nobody's really heard of it. And then, back in 2014, somebody found it. I've got the notes right here. Somebody found it. Let's see, it's Aaron Valdez.
Okay.
Yeah, he found it in a thrift store. Okay, and
thank you, Aaron Valdez.
Huh?
I said thank you, Aaron Valdez.
Yeah, he found it in a thrift store. It says, it's in December of 2015, not 2014. Sorry.
Okay.
And then he kind of did a re-edit of it, and that's who put it on there originally. He put it on his Dead VCR.
Oh, Aaron Sanchez runs Dead VCR.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he put it on Dead VCR on his YouTube channel, and he did the re-edit, and then a couple of years later, it just kind of blew up, and then he put the whole thing on there.
Yep.
And then people from Reddit and Gag9.tv and all of these other community internet community sites started grabbing it, making memes, doing mashups and all like that. And then and then here comes what is it? And then here comes Mike. What was his name?
Mike Diva?
Yeah, Mike Diva.
Yeah, with the trap remix.
Yeah, the trap remix. And I guess it's kind of like a snowball effect. Aaron kind of started it, but Mike Diva really pushed it down the hill and got it going.
Definitely.
And it got like 14 million views.
Yep.
And then I guess that triggered people to try to find you out on Twitter.
Yeah, the Twitter thing happened, again, sort of by a weird twist, because I found an article about the video that was written by a girl who was in the second video. And she and her buddies did a college radio episode about it. about talking about the video and her experience being in the video. And I found the radio episode about it, and I listened to it, and I wanted to write to her and say, hey, long time no see, that was really cool listening to that podcast, but the only contact info was on Twitter. And I used to be on Twitter, but I hadn't been on in like 2.5 years or something. So I jumped on my old Twitter account, and I was like, hey, great to hear that radio interview. Brought back a lot of memories. I hope you're doing great. And then I got off Twitter again. And then 2 weeks later, I popped on Twitter, and like 3 people were like, hey, was that you who was in that video? And I was like, oh yeah, that was. And then I got off Twitter again. And then like 2 weeks later, I got back on, and there were like 100 people who were like,
wow.
Hey, was that you who was in that video? And then my Twitter follow like blew up. It went from like 200 or 300 followers to over 10,000 in just a month or two.
Yeah, you got like 13,000 followers now on Twitter. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and the reason why Mike Diva, I've highlighted this in the notes here, the reason why Mike Diva, really captured that and made it into the trap video, he said, you don't often, no, that's the question. It says, it's such a fun video, and the kid that is, he's giving it his all. I respect his gusto, and I admire him. How would I not want to sample something like a kid going, fun, 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 fun? It basically writes itself.
Yeah, oh man, I don't know if it wrote itself, because he did a lot of work on that. I was very impressed when I saw that, not only with the sound editing, to put the video editing all together. He clearly put a lot of work into it, so Mike Diva has impressed me very much.
Yeah, and it pays off.
Oh yeah,
it paid
huge.
off.
I mean, when you Google search Kazoo Kid now, Mike Diva's video is the first one, and as it should be. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's really catchy. It's a really catching tune.
Absolutely.
And amazingly, he put it on iTunes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I guess people, if they wanted to, they could. I don't know if he put a price point on it, but yeah, it's definitely on iTunes.
You can download it on iTunes.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Put it on your iPod, iPad.
Jam out to it. It's really embarrassing, because sometimes I listen to it when I'm in the car alone, because it's a pretty awesome track.
Yeah.
But like, sort of embarrassing to have me listening to it. So
yeah.
I can't really do it in front of anybody else, but it's a good track. So.
Yeah, it's got that whole Inception thing. It's like you listening to you.
Right. Yeah. So it feels like self-aggrandizement, but it's not really my work. It's his work. So it's, I don't know.
So, what is it? Well, I want to go back to the Melissa and Doug thing. Now that you on Kazoo has kind of exploded and people really know about it now, it's out in the open. It's kind of like Pandora's box that can't be shut now. Have they ever talked to you about kind of revisiting the? No.
No, they haven't. They haven't done any video productions in years. Not that I think that they would shy away from it. They'll do whatever is good for the company. But no, they haven't gotten in touch with me about the revamping or revisiting at all. I know a lot of people on the internet are looking for an adult remount of the whole production. I would love to, but that would take some serious time and budget. So, wait for the right opportunity there.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think that would be great. I don't know from a comedic standpoint or from just, from a instructional standpoint. I guess you could take it either way.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it'd be a great idea, but like you said, the budget's just not there.
Got to find some time and money and actors and cameramen and sound techs, and you got to have a lot going on to get that done. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe one of these days.
So, what is it like for you personally to be rediscovered again?
It's great. I mean, what kind of actor doesn't want attention? It's really fun. I got a ton of followers on Twitter now at Brett Ambler, and I have. Totally entertaining for me to get the weird questions that I get, and even more entertaining to get like the real questions that I get, from people who just want to know more about it. But it's been nothing but fun. It's been really cool.
It's cool. Now I want to kind of focus on like Brett Ambler, the actor now.
Sure.
Because I know people are going to want to know like, what have you done recently? As far as going past the Melissa and Doug series, what kind of work have you been doing?
I've been in Colorado for the past 5 years, doing a lot of musical theater. I was fortunate enough to play Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story recently. I got to be Princeton and Rod in Avenue Q, Prince Herbert in Spam-A-Lot, Malcolm in the Full Monty. I got to play Emmett Forrest in Legally Blonde the musical, Elwood's boyfriend that she ends up with. I've been very blessed to do a ton of awesome theater in Colorado. Couple of commercials here and there. I was in a Kroger winter commercial. I just recorded a commercial 6 months ago with the New England lottery, the Nebraska lottery, for their Trucks and Bucks Scratchers lottery ticket. So there's a commercial of me out there somewhere if you're in Nebraska. Mostly I've been doing a lot of musical theater and a couple of voiceovers and commercials here and there. Just moved to Missouri 2 months ago, so I just got set up with a new agent, just got new headshots taken. Missed all the theater auditions because they were in the spring, because I just joined the union, the Actors Equity Union for stage actors. So just waiting around for the big audition season in the spring to come around again to get back into the theater. Very cool.
What type of acting do you prefer? Do you prefer doing commercials or theater work, film and television?
I love doing theater work because the response is right there and it's live, and working on a theater production with a bunch of people is an awesome way to bond with people. I haven't really gotten to do much film or television, but I would love to do a sitcom more than so many things in this world. I would love to do a sitcom really bad. And I'd love to voice a cartoon. So if anybody out there wants to put me on a cartoon or a sitcom,
he's right there.
Right here for the taking.
So when you prepare, when you have a script in hand and you prepare for your play or your commercial piece, how do you go about preparing for it?
If I'm doing a musical show, I read the script and I read it again, and then I read it again, and then I read it again. Listen to my music as much as possible, although sometimes with a show I don't like to listen to the CD if it's like a Broadway recording too much, because sometimes you sort of get it in your ear that you should sing it exactly like the person on the CD sang it, whereas you should have a little more room to be creative with how you want to deliver it. But mostly it's just reviewing, just reading the script, reading my lines. I record my lines a lot and play them back and listen to them, and just getting very, very familiar with the material, so that when you get up to start doing it, you've got a lot of it ready to go in your head, so you can spend very little brain power on what's my next line and a lot more brain power on what would be an interesting thing to do in this scene, or what feels right up here, instead of what the heck am I supposed to do next.
And how do you go about getting into your character? Like, how do you go about getting into the character's motivations, the personality of that character?
Most of the clues are in the script. As you read, it'll say, in the way that they speak, in the things that they talk about, what sort of a character they are. Are they a bravado, machismo, tough-talking guy? Are they timid? Is it a wisecracking person who's trying to make jokes? Are they trying to make jokes? And then you read that none of the other characters ever laughed and groaned, so it's like, is it that kind of jokester? All the info, the vast majority of the info is in the script, and what's not in the script you get to create, as long as it makes sense and fits, with everything else. But the majority of the info for the character you find in the script, and then when you get up on your feet and start actually interacting with the other actors, you can find some more nuances and interesting things and relationships that you have with them. But a ton of the info for who your character is all written in there. You just sort of have to pick out, reading about what they do and what they say, what that means about them.
And how long does a typical play last?
We usually rehearse a musical for 3 or 4 weeks, depending. 3 weeks typically, and you tech it for a week, which is sort of mixing all of the actor things with all of the crew things like the lights, the sound, the microphones, the set moving, the costumes, and all that. To get a week to put all that together, which is great because usually by the end of the rehearsal process, you're doing pretty well with just doing the show, and then they give you the props to put in your hand and the costume to wear and the light in your face, and you forget everything, and you get it back up and running again. But yeah, it's usually about 3 to 4 weeks to get a show up, and it'll run anywhere from one weekend to months and months and months. I've done several runs that lasted 4 months, but that's about as long as I've gone.
Wow. Okay. So since you've done some runs that have lasted for 4 months, does it? Do you ever get exhausted playing the same character over and over, months on end?
It can happen. Usually not in a lead or featured role. There's just so much going on that it stays interesting the whole time. But if you're in the ensemble and you're doing the same things over and over, and especially if you're doing very little on stage, it can get a little lull or a little boring. But if you find a new thing about the show to find interesting, and keep yourself moving along. But yeah, doing the same thing over and over again, like exactly the same thing, can get into your head a little bit. But it's funny how it can kind of come in waves where after you're sort of over it for a week, and then the next week it, for no good reason, just becomes exciting again to be out there. And it's always nice to remind yourself that you're doing what you love for a living. You're doing theater, you're live on stage performing, and you're not flipping burgers somewhere or being an accountant. So
that's true. You
should be happy for what you got going on.
Right, and I've taken a few accounting classes, and oh, they're horrible.
Doesn't sound like a good time to me. No.
But I was going to ask another question here. Well, if anybody, okay, what is it that fills your passion with the role of being an actor? What is it that makes you want to get up every day and say, there's a bunch of new plays that I want to pursue, there's a bunch of new stuff that I want to pursue? Does it ever get old? I mean,
yeah, I mean, some days you get up and you're like, let's check backstage and actors accessed and casting now and see what auditions there are. And some days you'll go for however many days without caring because you got other stuff going on in your life too. And I do love being an actor, and I do love working on stage. And I just started taking improv classes again. I did improv for a few months when I was in Virginia, and I did it in school. But I'm back taking classes doing that now, which is just a whole different feeling of being on stage. But it's invigorating, and it's working with a great type of creative people that I like to be around. So much of it is just the people. I worked at a dinner theater in Colorado for years, and it's the people that keep you there. It's really awesome people to be around. And I found that as soon as I went to the improv here in Missouri. It's cool people. It's good people that you want to be around, who want to be creative and be fun and make something interesting happen.
And so I imagine that that everybody's energy is kind of feeding off of each other.
It really does, yeah. It really does. It's really nice to come in and feed off of the enthusiasm, and then get enthusiastic yourself, so that you sort of ignite, and then somebody else can feed off of your enthusiasm.
So if anybody wanted to, say somebody was inspired to be an actor just like yourself, what would you suggest that they do?
If you're still in school, get involved in school theater. Sign up for auditions, or sign up to be in the chorus, or go be a part of the stage crew. If they've already cast the show, sign up to be backstage and run the lights. Get involved in any aspect of it you can. Even if you just want to be an actor, I think every actor who wants to be an actor, any actor who's worth their salt, should have worked in some regards on a crew, whether behind a camera, behind a light, in a booth, backstage, just so you get a better feeling of what it takes all together to make a production happen, because a production is not just actors, But get involved. If you're out of school, look for community theater auditions. Almost every city has some sort of website where you can look up auditions, or a Facebook page where the local theaters will post. And most of the times it's auditions everywhere from unpaid volunteer community theater all the way up to the highest ranking, highest paid equity auditions for their, city center theater. But especially if you're still in school, just go sign up. Just go sign up and get involved. That's what I would suggest.
So have you done anything, behind the scenes, other than, being an actor? Have you been, what am I trying to say here? Have you done any behind the scenes work other than, being up front on stage, with the theater?
Yeah, not so much in my adult life, but in high school and in college, I was on stage crews for shows and ran lights for shows. I think I ran sound for one show. I was on one stage crew professionally after I left college. I haven't done any crew work on a camera set, but lots of backstage and up in the booth work. And it's just it's enlightening to see all of the work that other people are doing that you're so unaware of.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of parts behind the scenes that has to just go together to make a one play happen.
Absolutely, yep. Got to have everybody on the same page.
Mm-hmm. So, you said that you're taking improv classes right now,
mm-hmm.
correct? Okay, so how is it different when you're taking improv classes from somebody who's been in somebody who's been in the business for many years, as opposed to being on stage as like yourself, who's been in the business for many years?
How is improv different from?
Yeah, how's taking improv classes different from being on stage? Are you learning any new techniques or?
Yeah, and I've studied a little improv before, so I knew some of this basic stuff going in. I'm in a level 1 class now, and I've taken a level 1 before, but it's a new school. But it's great. Yeah, improvisational theater and scripted theater are very different entities, because you're creating everything. When you're improv, you're the writer, you're the director, you choose where the blocking is, you're the editor, you choose when the scene is over, and all collectively do that without talking about any of it. So you have to have sort of a broader mind. You have to have an idea for the arc of the story. You have to have an idea for the relationship between the two characters. You have to have an idea for why you're wherever you are and why you're doing whatever you're doing. But it gives you a great sense of being familiar with sort of an arc of a challenge in a scene. Like most theater or storytelling doesn't happen without some sort of challenge, something to overcome. So it gives you a great sense of that, and and when you're improvising, one of the first rules you learn is yes and. So if somebody starts a scene and they say, "You look great, Oprah Winfrey," you can't say, "I'm not Oprah Winfrey." Then we're just stuck right back at zero.
Yeah.
You have to say, "Yes, I am Oprah Winfrey and I do look great, and I brought a hot dog." Throw whatever else you want into the scene, but it makes that reaction to self-accept more readily available, so that if something happens, you just say yes and roll with it. Very different techniques, or different things that you learn in each style of theater, but they overlap wonderfully.
Now, I know some actors try to get into script writing. Have you ever done that?
No, I've never really endeavored to do much writing. I feel like I might be able to do like sketch comedy writing, if I sat down with some other like-minded people, but I've never really sat down and attempted to do it on my own. I feel like I'd need some people to bounce ideas off of or something.
Okay. So, what lies in the future for Brett Ambler?
Hopefully more theater, and more performing in general. I play music too. I play a handful of instruments. I told you I played Buddy Holly about a year ago, so taught myself. Well, I already played some guitar. Taught myself more guitar for that, and I play mandolin, and I play some drums and a little bit of flute, and I'd like to learn a handful more instruments. But I don't know precisely what's next, but hopefully entertaining, whether it's singing, playing instruments, doing voices for a cartoon, commercial, TV, movie, entertaining in some regard.
What's been your favorite musical instrument to play?
Drums were the first one I learned, so drums are probably still my favorite to play, because it's just kind of raucous and you can really get some energy out. but they all have the sort of a different feel. I just started studying trombone a little bit, and that's fun, even though I'm terrible at it. I can play 8 notes, so I can play a whole scale. I'm pretty proud of that. But I don't know. They all have their own different feel. Probably drums, I guess, if I had to pick one.
And I know some people are going to be asking you that since you play musical instruments, are you in a band?
No, I'm not currently in a band. I was in a band when I was in Richmond. That was about 7 years ago. I was in a band called Captain Slick Talk. We used to play every week in Richmond, Virginia. But nope, haven't been in a band since then, just doodling around. Mostly for the last 4 years I was performing musical theater every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, so it doesn't leave much room for gigging.
Well, since you brought up the topic of musical instruments, I couldn't leave this interview without having you do a little performance.
Oh, it's here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I got these yesterday.
Lovely.
And
classic red.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I was wondering if you could just give us a little performance. I know people are going to be wondering about that.
Do you have like a song? Do you have any requests or anything?
Whatever is on the top of your mind. Or here's a wild idea. I don't know if you've remembered any of the songs from your young Kazoo days.
Can you hear the Beatles in the background? Let's see, tunes from the video. I remember that sweet guitar lick from the video.
Yeah.
That one's for you, Jonathan. That was Jonathan's guitar lick. Thank you. This is delightful.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you intended for me to keep this, but I'm going to.
Oh, go ahead. My pleasure.
So, whether you like it or not, this is my Kazoo.
That's yours.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And the sweet guitar lick is probably the closest that we're going to get to the recreation of the UL Kazoo, right?
For now, yeah, until like Ellen or Jimmy Fallon gives me a call and says that they want to budget it.
Yeah.
For now.
All right, sweet. Well, I really want to thank you for your time, and this has been a really great interview.
Thanks very much, man. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. And if you want to follow Brett Ambler on Twitter, you can do so at brettambler.com. And if you want to know what we're doing as far as conventions and festivals go, you can follow us at Channel 1 iTV on Twitter. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you.
Thank you.